Hello, everyone. Welcome to this creative session. Today is my turn. I'm Laura, and I'll be showcasing this really cool character selection menu that we are seeing here. Let me talk a little bit about it, what we are seeing. But first, I want to say this was designed by Sherry Liu. These animations that you're seeing here on the sides with the characters were animated by Michael and Robert. And then I have the task to put all this together. Okay. So what we are seeing here, we have this menu, this selection grid. And what I'm going to be focusing is on the selection of the player one. And that is happening here live. So what is happening here is we have a hover state and then a selected state and then an unselected interaction. The same is for the other player, but the only difference is it doesn't have control in the screen. It doesn't have any listener. So we are controlling that through the input number. But for now, I'm going to focus on the player one. So you see when I hover over a different character, the names on the top, that is the player one, change, that stripe with the names in white. And then the character on the left change, and also the name in the bottom. So let me see. Let me do something else. I'm going to bear with me. Just go full screen and talk a little bit about the project itself. Okay. So what I was saying, we have the main artboard that contains all the nested artboards, and we're going to call them components. So we have, let me go through this. I have this strip, this other text strip, also the player select, that is this one, the countdown, group with the versus, the names on the bar and the bar, also the character selection, the group of biters, that are these two, and the group of the background, that is that background that it's animating also. Oh. Okay, let's move on. So, sorry for the large pauses. So what is happening here, the behind the scenes, there is a cycle that starts with event going in the direction of this artboard and coming back as input in the direction of the cardboard that sent that event. That artboard is this artboard. So it basically starts all here in this little card. Let's see a little bit how it's built. So we have these events that we will see later, and the player text, the player background. The player background is the color, that frame colored, I'm gonna hide the player 2 because I'm gonna focus on the player 1. So we have the background of the player 1. Okay, background of the player 1 and the text of the player 1. And then we have the solos for each character. And now, as you can see, this artboard is nested in this other one. Now that I'm changing it, you can see that it changed also in the parent. And this is a state machine for this setup. We have the solos, and the layer in character view contains all the timelines activating the view of each character. So that's the 10 timelines with each number representing each character. So if we go to the other artboard, what I did is duplicate this same artboard 10 times. I'm just hiding it so you can see it. And then, since it's, oh, sorry, I didn't mention this. This is really important. This input is exposed to parent artboard. This is really important. This needs to be clicked. This needs to be activated. So once we come here to this other artboard, we will see the artboard, the nested artboard, and we can see all the nested inputs that we expose. One of those is the character view, the one we were seeing just now. So with this, just by doing this and replicating the same artboard 10 times, go into that character view input and put in the number we want to show. That will do what we want. Sorry. So we have character 1, but if I change here 2, it will show 2. It will change here 3, it will show the 3. So I have them in order. Character 1 is this character 2 is this character, and so on. Character 3 is this other character, and that 10 times. By 10 times. If you see, if I go here, so I'm standing in the 10, in the character 10. And now if I start to change, you can see that I can pick what I want to show. So this is pretty practical. And one of the advantages of the nested inputs. This one was the simpler for me to understand. And then I'm going to go back. There's the events. What is happening here, I'm going to try to repeat again and try to be clear. These events are reporting something to this artboard. And this artboard, with these events, is reporting something to the main artboard. And the main artboard, what it's doing is, with the nested inputs, going back to this card and telling what to do, telling it what to do, what is going to happen. Okay, so let's see the player 1. Sorry, I'm here. Let me check. Let's see the player 1 layer. We have these 3 numbers we have these three conditions for this input, and what they are doing is telling what is happening with the card. And so the three things that are happening are once we have the player off, the frame is off, that blue color is off. The other is player one visiting. That is when you are visiting that that card. And the other is, player selected, which is just the same frame, but just there, just showing it full, showing itself full. So with these three conditions, we are making it work here in the other artboard. Sorry, I'm gonna go back. Okay, so we have these three timelines and these three conditions. With this only input, that it will activate the hover off, the hover that is visiting, and the player selected. Okay, so then we created these three events. Pointer enter, sorry, we have these three events that are activated with a pointer enter. Oh, sorry, so no, I'm confusing here. Let me see. This is this one. Stress. Okay. Let's go to the events. We have these three events that are reporting, that is selected, unselected, or hovered. They are reporting that to this parent artboard. In this parent artboard, I'm not gonna stop too much on here. This was a solution. This is a momentary solution. There's gonna be some upgrades in Rive that probably will make this way more simple. But for now, I had to, for each card, create a new event that is basically the same, hovered, selected, and unselected for each card. So it's 3 times for 10 times. So we have all the events here. As you can see, now if I do pointer enter and then click, we can see that those events are happening. And these events are coming here, and are saying when this is hovered, when this is selected, and when this is unselected. So you can see now in the input panel, see player one master confirm is the name of the input that it's telling the other input what to do. So it's kind of replicating what the child is doing. Let's go again to player one selection. What is happening here in player one selection? Let me go back to this again. It's not. Okay. What is happening here is, yes, I'm back again in the grid with the character you're interacting with in the master, in the main artboard. For each character, we need that the input that we created here can hover player one, which is exposed as well. It has to be, it's a Boolean. It has to be activated or deactivated. It's a yes or a no. So when player one has selection, the can hover player, since it's a hover, for all the characters is deactivated. So we put a keyframe on each input in this state. And when the player one has no selection, it has to be activated. It has to be hovered active. So we put a keyframe on each character, on each layer. Timeline, sorry, on each timeline. Okay. Let me see. Okay, so this is one and false or true. Okay. Now let's go. Bear with me. Here, if I'm correct, there's some things that are happening here, but we are going to focus on not player two. Let's go to player one, selection one. This is the timeline, and what we are seeing here is all the nested inputs that we are keyframing. So I'm focusing on on the character selection. Player one selection. Let's see. Let's go to the state machine and see what is the player one selection. Let's go back. Just player 1, selection 1, character selection. Okay, is this player 1 selection? Okay. Let's go back. So for each of these players, we have a timeline. And in the player selection, player 1, selection 1, it will be for the character 1. In the player 1, selection 2, it will be pick the character 2. In the player 1, selection 3, the selection is 3, and so on till the character 10. It's confusing because it's player and it's player select, and it's also a player that is playing. So I'm calling character the characters that are the fighters. Okay, I'm gonna call the fighters, so it's easy. But I call them here character. So the player has all the timelines with all the keyframes that need to activate the view, the selection, and in the player 2 is the same. Character selection, but with the difference that the player selection, the input is player 2 selection instead of player 1 selection. And this is here. These are the timelines, and these are the inputs that are replicating as the other state machine, as the child. So if I go now, I can see player master selection, but also the player 1 selection changed at the same time. The same happened with the click and the selection and unselection. Okay, there's also hey, hi. Sorry for the lack of understanding. I'm doing my best here. Let me know if you want to ask anything else about the project. Let's see let's see this setup. So there's also the fighters that are changing here with this interaction. And if I go again to one of these other, wait, it broke. What the fuck? Ah, no, I think something broke. Let's go here. Ahí está. If I go back here to the player 1, and let's see, fighters large, that is this artboard, is also a number input that is activating that for this player. And the nested input is for this artboard. Let me see if it's called, so it's called fighter large. Fighter large is the same character select. Oh, let's go back. Player 1, fighter large, player one. Player one character is the same name. Okay, let's go. So this is the original artboard with all the solos. With all the character animated. And the input is here. It's basically the same. But the only difference is that these are animated. And then there's another artboard. Again, sorry, I'm going to go back. This nested input is exposed as well. Here, there's no events. There's this artboard in the middle where we have the player one and player two artboards with the solos. And for the player two, I just flip the scale. And it's the same artboard duplicated. So we have here for each layer, I'm going to go and see only the player one. And what we need here is the nested input cannot go from one artboard to, it only can have one parent. You can't go from here to here without doing something in the middle. So we need like something to communicate, to intermediate, something to communicate between them. So it's basically recreating the same state machine. So we have the fighter solo of player one, and this is the layer for the fighter solo of player one. And if you see, if I change the child, it will change here. And also, if I change the state machine that I just created, it will change also the child. So with this setup, what we can do is when we go to this state machine, this artboard, to the master, with fighter large, we can control what is happening. We can control what is happening from this nested input that is telling that to the other nested input what to do. Let me see, because it's changing. Yes, it says fighter large character one. It's doing that, going through each one. Let's go out here and see the timelines. Player one, sorry. Player one, here's the nested artboard, and what we are keyframing is the state machine in one, keyframe the state machine in two, keyframe the state machine in three, and four, and so on. And the same for the player two. And then there's this animation, but this is not, this is just a simple timeline. Okay, the other thing that is changing while we select the player, the character or the fighter, are the names, and it's also pretty much the same logic. Let's go to character for the player 1. This is the layer, and again, oh, I have to go back one step. Sorry. These are the names. I think we can do it with one artboard, I guess, but I did it in two. Not sure why. So here's the naming, and the name is only a text layer. That what is changing is the run. So we have the run here. Whatever I write here, it will change. And the same logic. Player 1, well, we have the name here. Button is for player for character 2. So here's a run for character 2. There's the character 3 that the name is Duncan. Character 4, the name is Brutus. The character 3, the name is Kaiden. So on till Victor, that is the character 10. Same for the other player, but in a different color. So now we have, I'm going to go here to the state machine of the player 1. We have these names, player 1 input exposed. And if we go to the name bar and to the folder of this character player 1, we have those state machines with a keyframe on the number that is correspondent to that name. And if we go to the state machine, in this layer is created the state machine to replicate that behavior. So if I press play and go with the arrows, I can see all the names depending on the number. And the last part, names P1 ones. The thing that is exposed, the input that is exposed is this one, names solos player 1. So if I go here, let's look for names solos player 1, where names bar, names solos player 1. Let's go to the player selection, player 1 selection. Aquí está. Here is names bar, state machine, keyframe in the number that's corresponded to that name. Same for character 2. See it, U. Same for character 3. Same for character 4. Same for character 5. And so on. Oh, no, this is something else. Okay. What else? What is this changing? This bar here. Let's focus on the top bar. This is okay. So we have this artboard This is really cool because here we have only one text, and here are the timelines with each name change in the text front. That's all. And then state machine. In this case, is one layer for the two players. So those timelines we were seeing just now, this one with the text run with the name, text run with the name, text run with the name. If I go to the state machine and see the state machine setup, we have, okay, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One input for the player, that is 1 or 2, and one input for the character, that is from 1 to 10. So if I hit play here, it's this supposed to change. Okay, now it changed to P, and the name, I don't see it changing, but I don't know why it's not changing. Let me go to 1. Not sure why it's not changing here. I guess it's changing on the other. Something weird is happening, but okay, there it is. I think it's getting. ¿Qué tal? Sorry. Okay, this is the character. I'm so sorry. I see how the inputs from nested artboards become visible in the parent artboard state machine. But why? Okay, I'm gonna show it. But why do you need the events? From what nested artboards? So there's two sets of events. There's the one in the card. Okay, let's stop here. See if I can explain it, because I'm not sure if I. So this one in the card with this tree, right? Why do we need these events? Why do we need us? They are reporting when each of these cards, which is this only one card, is selected, is hovered, selected, or unselected. I need those events because I have this artboard in the middle, and I can't go with a nested input directly if I have this one in the middle. That does make sense? Or maybe I'm not following the question. Okay, so let's hide, and I'm gonna go back to the. Yes, exactly. What it's doing is I have an event, and this three set of events going from this card that is reporting to this other artboard that is called the character selection. And what it's doing the main, it's with the inputs, it's listening to those, sending back the instructions to those events. That makes sense. I'm not sure. Yes, but yes, I is that is he's listening for those events. What I'm saying is that there's gonna be some improvement on this side of things. There's probably it's gonna be a better way to solve this, but not creating that much of events. But in this case, that I needed for this to report 3 times for each one, it became a little crowded because it's 3 for each card. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to. It wasn't the name. It was the name? Yes. Okay. So here, okay, sorry. Names first. Oh. Go back to the names. Okay. We were on the layer of the names player one, on the names, sorry, we're on the layer names player one, and name solos player one is the input. It's a number input, and it's exposed to a parent that it's the main. So what is happening here is we have the names. Name solos player one. No, I was in the, sorry. I went back to the, it was in the stripe. Okay. So again, we have the character and the player. Character is from 1 to 10, and player is 1 or 2. That's the only thing that is changing. We have these two inputs, and they are both exposed to this other artboard. And here we have this layer with the text. I'm not sure what, this is the animation of the scrolling. It has a little trick. I don't think this is the best solution, but this is, there's a little trick so you can see this looping constantly, even if it changes. So let me go to, and if I change, we have, no, sorry. There's the trick, and there's also the, this is not the trick, this is a loop. One go in one direction, two goes in another direction. This is what the scrolling is. With one, with two, you go towards right, and with one, you go toward left. And these are the names changing. there's this little trick here that let me see if this change. Not this. This bone is have a transform constraint and is targeted to this text that is scaling the whole stripe, and no matter the name you put, it will be located so it loops and you won't see a cut, more or less. Okay, what else? Yeah, I would suggest, so tomorrow is the workshop. It's the good stuff. Now it's just I'm rambling about with my poor English, but yes, it's really, really cool. I'm still wrapping my head around, so sorry if I'm not being super clear. I think I just covered everything. Let me see. Oh, okay. No, sorry. Let's go back to the straight. About to player text. Focus on player 1. So each condition, we need the condition of the player and the condition of the character. We have 10. In this case, for the player 1, it will be player 1 in all, but in character, it will change from 1 to 3 to 4 to 5 to 7 to 6 to 7 to 8, 9, and 10. Okay, so these two inputs are exposed as well. And let's see the all the nested inputs for the names that we have here in the inputs. So it's also the same, but replicated 20 times because why is this? Okay. So it's replicated for the number of character we need, 2 characters the player needs. So it's 10 and 10. Okay, let's go to player 1, character 1. This is a timeline, and here it is. This is a trick. The key for the text scale, that is the run, that will the run is the run, since it changed the text and the text is the target, that is this bone is targeting for transforming. Each time we change with only one keyframe, it will relocate the text. And then we have all the nested inputs with a keyframe on the character name correspondent to that character. What? So, okay. Why do we have the exercise? I'm lost here. This is player 1 character. Okay, this is for player. So we have the player. I'm a little lost here though. Está bien, correct. Name 0. No. This timeline is only for player 1, character 1. And it's activating these two conditions. Character 1, player 1. The same for the player 1, character 2. Character 2, player 1, and so on. Character, this is character 3, character 3, player 1, character 4, player 1, character 5, player 1, and so on till character 10. And these two inputs exposed. Once we go to the main, and if we go again to this character selection binding, let's check out the timeline. Text strip full, player 1, animations, state machine, character 1. Same here, and the same here, and the same here, all going and corresponding to the character name and number. So if I go and check out the inputs panel, I will find out that oh, thanks. Hope this is helpful some way, somewhat. Okay. Let's see the listeners. Just gonna go. There's a crowded listener panel. But the good thing is that we barely have timelines, and the state machine is really, really simple too. It's like only 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4 layers. This one is just an animation that is only this animation, but it could not be there. I mean, it could be, I could have done it in outside. That is what is recommended, right? That you do everything outside and just here you use this just to put everything together. Okay, let's go back to the listener. This one, okay, I don't think I'm gonna have time to cover all of this, but this is what is the interactive part, right? For the player 1. The listeners for each character card or hover or fighter selected. So let's see. This should be this one should be the listener for character for the player 1 and the character 10 unselected. This one is the character selection for the player 1, the character selected, and this one is the listener for the character selection player 1, character 10 hovered, which is this, what is happening, this tilting. I think if I'm correct, these are the ones that are let me see. So set. want to see the name of this and I can't. I know. No. Player 1 master is not selected. Está bien. These are these two booleans. So these are. Okay. True. Why this is only. Okay. Nothing is happening when unselected. So we have these two sets of inputs. And for this one, only 10. It should happen the same for each character selection. Six. Okay. And if you can see the target is the same for each one of these. It's character selection. That is this nested artboard. Let me see. Okay, let's see one more thing. It wasn't this. Está bien. Player master. Player 1 confirm true, player 1 confirm false. This means true is when it's selected, false is when it's hovering. And this input is what is communicating with this artboard, and it's saying yes to these events. Does this make sense? It happened the same with these events. They are all validated by the parent artboard. Okay, so this is a really, really cool project. It was more complicated than I thought it will be to make something like that, but it's still it's complicated for me because I'm just a simple animator. I never think about this way with events. It's a nested input. It's a new way of thinking for me, and I'm still wrapping my head around, but it makes things, it makes the project and the workflow way more practical, and it simplifies and organizes way better your project. So I would recommend that we learn together because I'm learning as well as you all. Okay, so hope this was helpful. I think this is gonna be this. You can watch the replay if you missed it. You can put it in fast speed, so it's not that boring. And there's one more thing. Don't miss tomorrow the workshop because it's gonna be good. It's gonna be the real stuff. And there's also some documentation on the right page, on the right page about nested inputs for the editor and for the runtimes as well. And what else I wanted to say? Well, thank you for being here, bearing with me. What else? This project, I'm not sure if I can share it right away, but we will probably be sharing it in the community, at least some parts of it. And I think that's it. Hope you enjoy it, and really, really thank you for staying till the end. I don't know how to change this setup. Let me see here. Okay, I'm back. Oh, here. Okay, so thank you, and see you soon next week. Bye. Oh, there's a question. Let me see. Is there any way to create elements based on a number value? What do you mean by creating elements? Create, like, I know you can create objects, or you can create inputs based on a number value, but maybe I'm not following. So what do you mean by create elements? My quick thought is yes, I think there is ways to create elements based in number value. How that will be. Okay, I'm not really sure about what you mean with create elements. What would that be? I'm going to wait a little more, but okay. Another thing I would suggest, you can go to the Discord channel and ask from questions. I'm doing it that all right. And ask your questions there. Any questions or doubt you have. There's the Discord channel. Let me see if I can share the link here. Search for it. I think I'm not forgetting anything else. Maybe you can put it in there, so there's someone that understands and can help you with your question. There it is. Okay, so thank you everyone for staying in this creative session, and see you next week. Bye.